Good morning, class. I'm going to do a quick little presentation on the blood and what's in it. So if I took a sample of your blood, about 55% of that is plasma, just kind of the liquid part of the blood, and then about 45% of it is what's called formed elements. If I take a look at the plasma, almost all of that is water, of course. But dissolved in that water, the albumin is the main protein that's in there. You have fibrinogen, prothrombin, globulins. These are the things that fight, that like antibodies that help fight diseases and viruses. If you've heard of probably blood serum, that's without fibrinogen and the other clotting factors. In the news right now, you may have heard of convalescent plasma. What is that? It's taking plasma from someone who's had the disease. So someone who's had COVID-19 and is recovered, well, they probably have antibodies in their plasma to fight that. So this is one of the things that they're looking at that perhaps is going to be one of the things that it will help with the problem with the COVID disease. So if I have it and I get over it, I have those antibodies in my plasma, and then I give my plasma at a plasma center, and then give that to someone that either before they have the COVID, right before or right after they get it, it could perhaps fight it off faster. So if you've heard that in the news, which you probably have, that's what it is. Okay, then we have what's called formed elements. Now those are the cellular parts. Why don't they just call them cells? Because we have red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets really aren't cells, they're just cell fragments. And actually red blood cells don't have, adult red blood cells don't even have a nucleus, so but they call them formed elements. The red blood cells or erythrocytes, if I take a look at a very small amount of blood, so if I drew here, I'm guessing about that much of a drop. Maybe that might even be a little bit too much. In that, I would have 4 to 6 million red blood cells in that little part of a drop. What's the red blood cells do? They transport oxygen. When I breathe in my lungs, the red blood cells grab a hold of that oxygen. The kind of the neat thing that every red blood cell can hold on to about 1 million oxygen molecules per red blood cell. So they're very efficient at what they do. So they have to transport oxygen to the trillions of cells in the body. White blood cells, in that little teeny drop again, or partial drop, I would have 4,000 to 11,000 of those. And those are called leukocytes. There's a picture of a white blood cell. They move by pseudopods, they're called. They can do something kind of neat called diapedesis, where they can squeeze through really small openings in the capillaries to get to where the infections are and basically eat them, a bacteria, a virus, whatever. There's some things that are associated with white blood cells. There's different types of white blood cells: neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. And they have specific things that they fight. The immune system, parasites. If you have a parasite, you would have a huge number of eosinophils. This causes swelling. Again, immune system, antibody production. So if you've ever had a white blood cell count done at the lab, number one, it tells what if you're fighting off an infection, and number two, what type it is by the type of white blood cell that is being produced. The last one are platelets, and these are cell fragments, and there are for that little teeny bit, you've got about 250 to 500,000 within that fraction of a drop. And they start out as a megakaryocyte. And basically, so if this is a big cell, it just means a big cell, and they fragment, and each one of these little fragments will form a thrombocyte or a platelet. What is their job? Their job is for the coagulation of the blood to stop the blood clotting process and to stop you from bleeding out when you get a cut. So those are the things that are found in your blood. When you take your test, I want you to write let's use this big fancy term here. I want you to write convalescent on the top of your test. That will be worth 2 points. Okay, so write that on top of your test. Thank you.